Can you get HIV by playing with someone who has HIV? No. No, you can't.
We just said it, not by casual contact.
Yeah.
And playing with someone is casual contact.
Nah.
Another young.
Back to yellow. Why would someone tell you not to play with someone who is sick? Because people don't understand how, I'm assuming this is related strictly to AIDS or HIV, and because they're afraid of, you'll catch something if you play with someone, you share the toys. Like, ah! Reed, touch that die.
This virus has been around for a long time, and like you said, some people are still ignorant about it. And even with all the education that's out there, they still don't know or don't want to know.
And it's just another thing they could use to hate somebody. That's my take on it. You know, they don't know nothing but hate, and if, you know, they find out something like that, they just want to use that as another form to hate somebody.
I remember times when I was a kid, there wasn't HIV/AIDS, but I remember my grandmother saying, if somebody had chickenpox, don't go near them, you know, just, and so you get those stigmas and fears that go with it.
HIV-related stigma has caused parishioners to fear drinking from the communion cup because they may know someone who may have HIV or AIDS within the congregation or within the parish. They won't drink from that cup because they're afraid, once again, ignorance.
Have you found any people who have been hesitant to talk about their faith or to bring in their faith because they've had bad experiences with the church?
Yes, and I found that it's prevalent in all faith communities, whether Protestant or Catholic or Muslim, that people are having a great deal of difficulty expressing themselves. The stigma has been so large in the United States and around the world. Indeed, I believe that really stigma is the other co-pandemic that goes along with HIV disease.
Have you experienced people living with HIV and AIDS who have been turned off by churches?
Of course, always. Because there's always, even till today, there are, you know, for instance, priests or ministers who say, you know, it's God's curse. And, you know, you have no control over that. You know, you try to educate people, but that's an issue of more than just education. It's an issue of attitudes. You know, it's not a curse from God. It's an infectious disease.
Do you ever lie about things? Why?
When this disease first came out, it was this horrible, nasty, awful gay disease, the gay plague. It was an immoral disease, and, you know, didn't nobody want that attached to them. And still don't want, you know, yeah, and still don't want that attached to them. So are people going into denial and shame? People living with this disease still haven't even accepted the fact that they have this disease and they know they have it.
I think when we're in denial and we don't face the disease, we are lying to ourselves and to others. There's no shame in having this disease. If you have diabetes, you say, I have diabetes, but when it comes to AIDS, it's another story. So that fear really gets into that.
I sit down and the young nurse, the gentleman, yes, he was a man. Men can be nurses too, women. Time for us to fight. And he said, you're HIV positive. Even saying that right now, it does something to me because I can still hear that, and there was this silence that, and I felt like my bones were beginning to break and shatter inside of me, and I heard this silence and everything was just going wrong.
I believe was the one who infected me. When I told him that I had tested positive, he was like, well, I guess I have to go get tested then too. And he was the only person I was with. that I had ever had unprotected sex with.
I remember saying, use a condom, and someone would say, well, what's wrong with you? What you got? So, you know, there's always that
Yeah.
yeah, that if you, like you were honest, he probably knew he had infected you, but he was going to put it on you. And it's very unfair, and that's not love, and you deserve better than that.
I go to the hospital and I talk to people who are dealing with substance abuse, and just like Father Massengill was saying, you know, you become transparent, and you can feel what people are going through. And as I went through what I was going through, I didn't want to talk to anyone. And this was before the drugs, and this was before the HIV. I was depressed. But I remained silent.
And then come to find out that the person he was with after me developed HIV as well.
Well, see, that's not even right.
So,
Yeah.
and the young kid didn't want to deal with it, so he killed himself.
I know there are many other people, such as myself, who are suffering just like I did in silence. And I never want to see that to happen to anyone. So I made a promise to God that as long as I could speak, as long as I am visible, I will share my story. And it hasn't been a long time, but when I made that promise, I vowed to God that I won't break it. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.